Ciao, and welcome to Immersion Travel Italy, where we don't just visit Italy, we experience it. I'm Caterina Ferrara, travel author and festival enthusiast, bringing you insider tips, hidden gems, and unforgettable adventures across Italy. From grand religious processions to lively food sagas, I'll take you beyond the guidebooks to immerse yourself in Italy's richest and most historical traditions. Whether you're planning your next trip or dreaming of La Dolce Vita, join me as we explore the heart and soul of Italy, one festival at a time. Today, we're going to talk about Taormina, the pearl of the Ionian Sea in Sicily. Taormina is on the east coast of Sicily, halfway between Messina and Catania. And Taormina has been a city since the 4th century before Christ when the Greeks settled it. Then in the 900s, there was Arab settlement in the area all over Sicily. Then the Normans reconquered Sicily in about 1100, and that was followed by Spanish domination and the Spanish rule from the 15th to the 19th century. Taormina is a great town with a great festival, actually two. So when there are two festivals that happen at the same time, my ultimate festival and travel guide will point out to you with the words FestaFusion that there's more than one festival that happens during the same time, and even with 1 week in town, you can attend more than one festival. FestaFusion happens constantly, of course, because Italy has over 20,000 food festivals called Sagre every year. And along with that, every single town has their patron saint, and they have a grand festival and a procession on their patron saint's day. And so if you organize yourself, you can hit a festival. Actually, we're going in the late summer, and we've got 2 weeks in Italy, and we'll hit 6 festivals. And that's mostly so that I can then write about them in the Tuscany book. So I hope you'll join me in following festivals and on these adventures. So in my book, I want to let you know, in my books, all the festival guides follow the same format. I wanted to let you know how the chapters are formatted. We're going to talk about the Taormina chapter. And the first thing I do in every chapter is introduce you to the town and give you a little bit about the town's history. Then the second part is the history of the festival, followed by the events of the festival. Then in every book, I have a walking tour with all of the key sites. In some chapters, that's a one-day walking tour. In a town like Taormina, Palermo, Syracuse, in towns with a lot to see, it may be a 2-day or a 3-day walking tour. The reason I mention that is, in the past, I've purchased, they're up here on the shelf, hundreds of travel guides. And all these travel guides do is give me this list of what I should see in town. And it drives me crazy because then I have to go into Google Maps and figure out how to walk around town in a reasonable order. In a town like Palermo, it's really important, or Rome, any of these big cities, it's really important that you're not zigzagging all over town and wasting half your time walking from one site to the other. So my idea when I was creating these guides is that I would give you the key sites in every town, but I'm going to put them in the order that you're going to walk them to save you from having to go in and map out. Now, you, of course, you could go to all 10 sites, you can go to 3 sites, however much time you have, but I don't want you to have to figure out where the sites are. This also came up for me because I have a client, Jerome, and he's traveling to Rome, and they're going for a whole month. And so he was trying to organize, which days to visit which churches and which parts of town. And again, I presented that to him in walking tours. So if you're going to go to Santa Maria Maggiore, you may as well go to Santa Pudienza, etc., etc. So anyway, back to Taormina. So after the festival piece and the walking tours, I then list all of the other festivals that are in that town, because every Italian town has more than one festival, sagra, more than one grand celebration every year. So if you're not in Taormina on the dates of the festivals for FestaFusion, which we're talking about here, then you can certainly visit the Taormina FestaFusion is June through August, with San Pancrazio being on July 9th. But if you're not there during that time, and you're in Taormina and you're planning your trip, you can almost surely hit a festival in the area during the time you're there. And why do you want to do that? Because the festivals are incredible. They are a way to really experience the city at its most energetic, with the locals being so proud of their traditions. They just welcome you. And when we visit for festivals, oftentimes locals are like, how did you find out about this? And it's because I watch a lot of Italian TV. I watch the morning news on Di Buon Mattino, on TV 2000, TV 2000. Every morning, and I see a festival every single day, because that Good Morning America type show in Italy goes to a different festival almost every single day of the week of the year. And so I started learning about festivals that way, and then I started arranging our trips around them. because honestly, it doesn't take much work, but that's what the festival guides are here to help you with. So after the walking tour and the other festivals in town, I give you options for day trips. So if you're going to spend 5 nights in Taormina, I want you to have some options for trips that are just a couple of miles away, within easy driving distance, or even a taxi ride. So I want to make sure that you're going to arrive in town early for the festival, and then maybe you have an extra day and you want to go visit another city. So I've got nearby sites, which could be an archaeological site, cities and towns. So also that's described in every chapter, just a few options in case you've got time. Here, an example for Taormina is Giardini Naxos, which is 4 miles away, and it's a seaside town with a beautiful 16th century fortress. So that's an example of a nearby town. So that section is next, followed by logistics. For every town, I tell you, is there a train station? Where is the train station? Do you have to take a taxi to get there? How do you get there by car? If you were going to get there by car, what do you do about parking? If you prefer to take public transportation, a lot of these towns also have buses between them. So I explained that in the logistics section. Then I give you restaurant recommendations based on my experiences and locals, my friends who are local experience, and then accommodation recommendations. With accommodations, I'll give you a couple of options. And then I'll also tell you for the festival how many nights I recommend. So every chapter has those key elements in it. Town history, festival information, the walking tour of the key sites. You pick which ones you want. Then it goes into the other festivals in the town, nearby sites and towns, logistics, restaurants, accommodation. So that is how all of my chapters are organized to make sure you have the best trip when you're hitting the festival. So in Taormina, which I mentioned, is on the Ionian Sea. It's about 250 meters above sea level. So when you're in Taormina, you're looking down over cliffs, essentially into the beautiful sea. And you can go down, certainly by the water if you want, or you can just stay in the sort of the upper town. And funny story, I picked a restaurant when our first night in Taormina. So we had just flown there from America. It's a very long travel day. And I picked a restaurant that was like, in Google Maps, a quarter of a mile away from the hotel. But I didn't realize that a good portion of that quarter of a mile was stairs, 500 stairs, zigzagging up to the very top of Taormina. And so about halfway up, my husband was like, we're not going back down these stairs. So these things do happen, and I've got a note on that about the restaurant that you might want to taxi up there. It's a pretty big climb. It was a beautiful climb, though, I'll tell you, because it's got views of the sea. And also, the climb was from a monastery. The monks had built it, and so the Stations of the Cross were each zig and zag, was the Stations of the Passion of Christ, called the Stations of the Cross, or the Via Crucis in Italian. So we got to see nice statues, and it was very easy. It was just a surprise, I guess. So Taormina has a population of about 11,000 residents. So that gives you an idea of its size, not too small. And there are just breathtaking views all over town. One of the key archaeological sites in Taormina is the Greek theater. And the Greek theater that then became a Roman theater when the Romans took over town is a beautiful sight to behold. And even back then, the Greeks built theaters into the rock, into the hills and mountains. They didn't create them from scratch, but they got the site right, because when you're looking at the stage of the Greek theater in Taormina, right behind it is Mount Etna, framed in the stage. So when you're sitting there at one of these festivals, or when you visit and you go to the Greek theater, you will certainly see Mount Etna in the distance. It's quite a stunning sight. I actually have a picture of it in the chapter. So the Greek theater will certainly be on your list to visit, and it's, of course, in a walking tour. Okay, so we're going to talk about the festivals. The FestaFusion is 2 festivals happening at the same time, and in this case, it's Taormina Art, which actually is a festival that goes through most of the summer. So it's through June, July, and some of August. And the Taormina Art Festival was established 40 years ago, and it was established with the citizens and the mayor, knowing that they had this great Greek theater that they could do shows and concerts and productions in. It's still used today. And so with that said, they created the Taormina Art Festival, which is a theater festival and a music festival. They do dances on the stage. All of this is easily controlled because there is a gate to get to the Greek theater. If you're going to go visit it, you're going to buy a ticket. So it's easily controlled sort of down one street, and they can sell tickets for these events in the festival. So it really is a special place, and I'm so glad that they use it, that it's not a ruin. It's a full-blown Greek theater, and they use it today. Although I will tell you from our experience in a Greek theater, you definitely want to bring something to sit on. You're sitting on stone, and so it's nice warm stone, warm from the sun, but we certainly wish that we had brought a cushion to sit on. They do rent them a lot of times in theaters. When we were in Syracuse, they were renting cushions for you to sit on, but you are sitting on stone while you enjoy the festival. So Taormina Art runs through the summer, but As a subsection of Taormina art, there's a pretty big deal film festival, the Taormina Film Festival. And the film festival, again, is held in different places throughout town, mostly inside, so that you can see the films clearly, but also some seating outside. And the Taormina Film Festival is a pretty big part of the Taormina Art Festival, along with the theater productions, concerts, dance shows in the theater, and art, and paintings and other art along the street. So they've also got the painted carts, the Sicilian beautiful painted carts around town, and they've got all kinds of other art exhibitions. So it is an art festival for art lovers of any type of art that I highly recommend. And in the middle of the Taormina Art Festival is the Festa di San Pancrazio, or the Festival of St. Pancras. And that is held starting with the procession at the church, the Duomo. So St. Pancras was born in 208, and he was born in the area that's modern-day Turkey. And he and his family became Christian, and as they moved around a bit, and so he ended up being the bishop of Taormina. And so according to legend, he was martyred. The Romans say he was martyred on the Via Aurelia. The Taormina citizens say that he was stoned in Taormina. But either way, he is an early Christian martyr from the 200s, and he was a bishop, certainly of Taormina, and he is their patron saint. So as I mentioned, every town in Italy has a patron saint, and they know how to celebrate. So they started celebrating him centuries ago. There's no date that you can say when it started. It's just always been. And the festival includes a novena, which is 9 days of prayer leading up to the festival. That includes masses and events in the church. And then on the 8th, they prepare everything in town, which includes a lot of illumination, along the different walkways. They've got them lit up with beautiful lighting. Almost think of like a Christmas type of lighting, but just all over town, and not Christmas. It's for the festival. And then the day of San Pancrazio, which is the 9th of November, starts at 5:30 a.m. with a mass, and there are other masses in the morning. But the key event is the procession, which will start from the church, and it will go all through Taormina, through all of the narrow streets. They have the statue of St. Pancras that they carry around. Certainly there's local bands playing music, different local groups, the police, the mayor, all following the procession that lasts until between 7 and 8 when it returns back to the Duomo of Palermo. So it's a very beautiful event. Then after that, in the piazza, you've got Sicilian music, folk dancing. That's all in Piazza 9 Aprile, 9th of April Piazza. And then at 10 o'clock or thereabouts, there's a big fireworks show to celebrate the ending of the Festa di San Pancrazio. But there's even more. And one other thing I want to mention to you is that a lot of the festivals in Italy, there is a special festival food associated with the festival that's only available on that day. And that's true of San Pancrazio. And this special festival treat is a sweet pastry prepared with a filling of figs, nuts, and spices, often perhaps with a splash of Marsala wine, remembering that Marsala wine is Sicilian. And so they may throw some of that in there, although it is the other coast. And this is called the cucci d'Atidi. And so that's a special festival treat you'll find in the bakeries and as street food during the festival, along with all of Sicily's other amazing street food. So you don't want to miss that. And I always am searching that day of the festival to make sure I get my hands on whatever the festival treat is, and I may get more than one. So with the festival, obviously, if you go to the festival, you're going to be at the Duomo, which is the cathedral of Taormina. It's a 13th century church, and it's built with crenellations that make it look like a fortress, so it has a nickname, the Fortress Cathedral. And so also there's a picture of that in the chapter, the Fortress Cathedral there. So I encourage you to include festivals and the Sagra, the food festivals, in your next Italian travel. And my books make it really easy for you. They're organized by date. So if you're going in June and you're going to Sicily, you can flip to the June festivals and see which one matches your schedule. The Rome book is the same, which is Rome and Lazio. Puglia will be the 4th book in the series. So please join me in celebrating the traditions and the history of Italy through these festivals. I'm glad you joined me today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a great day.